Hello and welcome to DW's International Reporters Magazine World Stories. I'm Layla Harak. Coming up, the world flocks to Iceland to learn more about a smoking hot green energy source. Also, a report on a rainforest rescue mission in Guatemala. And later in the show, we hear about deer farming in New Zealand. But we start with a startling figure. 510 million women will be abused by their partner at some point in their lives. That chilling statistic is according to a recent estimate by the World Bank. Domestic violence affects each and every society and country on the globe. And tackling violence against women is a worldwide issue. In South Africa, one of these battered women shared her story with Cape Town television. Fabian Sickenberger and Sarah Hanong have this very personal account from a victim at a women's shelter near Cape Town.
I came here on the 19th of last month, August, because of the case of abuse. I was 7 months pregnant, heavily pregnant, and I've been in an abusive relationship or marriage. I don't know what to call it anymore, because it was such a manipulative and a lie. I was heavily pregnant, not having a job, and this is when he started to brutally beating me and call me all sort of names when I was pregnant with my first child. How do you think of that, and you are pregnant and you need love and you have all these hormones raging and you don't know what to think, and this is the father of your child and you're expecting your first child is supposed to be perfect.
Olwetu has been at the Sartje Bartman Center in Atlones since August of last year. There she gave birth to a healthy baby girl, a sister for Olwetu's 2-year-old daughter. The children were the main reason she left her abusive partner.
I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to be here. I didn't like the environment. I didn't want anything about here. It's like I was suffocating, and I was confused because this is going to be the first step to feel better, and the first environment there I'm gonna feel safe, and none of those things that were happening to me, they were going to happen. But yeah, it was not easy for me to be here. Immediately they assist me with counseling immediately, because they were so scared that I'm pregnant and all that, so they treated me like I was an egg, giving me so much attention.
When she decided to leave her abusive partner, many people in her community thought she was crazy. The man was providing for her. Counselors at the Sartje Bartman Center say many abused women have to overcome similar criticism.
Every time I think about it, I have to think of my children. And I have to think the fact that I'm exhausted and I'm pregnant, and I have to live in order for her to live, which is the baby inside of me. And for me to feel like that and being pregnant, it was not fair for her. So I have to be strong for her, even though I know that I was not strong and I'm exhausted. I didn't want to go on anymore, but I think it's one of those mothers they have to do as a mother. And it was a test of me being a mother. It's when I discovered that I am a real mother.
The center offers a program aimed at teaching abused women 2 coping mechanisms. The first involves trauma counseling. The second focuses on improving job skills so women can become independent.
So I slowly said to myself, I have to put my guards down now. I'm okay now. I have to let go of everything. I'm safe.
Well, next, we head north. There's a reason why Iceland is called Iceland. It's covered by ice, there's that, but it's also the country of geysers and hot springs. Close to the surface, natural heat from the interior of the Earth supplies the country with geothermal energy. It's a cheap, clean energy source that provides homes with heating and electricity. Imagine for a moment the potential for other countries with untapped geothermal resources. UNTV filed this report on visiting scientists in Iceland learning how to harness the Earth's heat.
Bordering the Arctic Circle, Iceland is home to some of the largest glaciers in Europe. But under the cold surface, the Earth is bursting with heat. Iceland is one of the most geothermally active places on our planet. Geophysicist Anna Wairimu has traveled from Kenya, trying to uncover the wonders of Iceland's geothermal power.
When you're studying geology, to me, it's like you're in an adventure and you want to unravel what was happening in the past.
Iceland sits on the boundary of two tectonic plates that have been shifting apart by 2 centimeters per year. Over the millennia, this movement has created the geologically significant rift valley known as Þingvallaklær. The separation of the plates allows lava to move closer to the Earth's surface, creating numerous volcanoes and geothermal fields, which heat up underground water and steam. Anna is among a selected group of scientists from more than 50 developing countries. They are participating in a geothermal training program at the United Nations University, UNU. They visit geothermal plants and see firsthand their operations in separating steam and water, with the steam used to generate electricity. Einar Gunnlafsson from Reykjavik Energy.
Then the steam is taken here to this small units here. These are also the separators, separating the last remaining droplets from the steam. After that, the steam is dry and can be used directly into the turbines.
Geothermal energy accounts for roughly 26% of Iceland's electricity production. Most of it is used to power heavy industries. Hot geothermal water, too, is a significant source of energy transported in pipes to towns and cities such as the capital Reykjavik. Heated at 73 degrees Celsius, hot water flows directly from taps. It is used to heat 90% of Iceland's homes, including the one Anna shares with fellow classmates. In the town of Hveragerði, creative use of geothermal water has led to new businesses, such as this geothermal restaurant. Ólafur Rennisson is the owner.
This is earth cooking, geothermal cooking. This is 170 Celsius hot power. And here we are doing baking potatoes. Usually in the oven you use a lot of heat and a long time. Here, only 20 minutes.
The water, believed to have health benefits, is also used to fill Iceland's popular hot pools. The Blue Lagoon, Iceland's famous therapeutic spa, uses geothermal water directly from a nearby power plant.
It's very important to expand the use of renewables, and especially in the developing countries, because that is where most of the increment in energy use will be.
Ingvar Fridolifsson is the director of the UNU geothermal training program based in Reykjavik. This program has already trained more than 500 scientists and engineers from countries around the world with geothermal potential, like Kenya.
I think geothermal is the future. It is a resource that is renewable, and it's a clean energy. We don't have to pollute. It is one of the ways of securing our energy for the future.
Well, if you think about curling, the sport that is, you probably wouldn't think about Mongolia. But ever since the days of mighty Genghis Khan, the Mongolians have played a game that's quite similar to curling. It's fun, it keeps you fit, boosts the immune system, and gets Mongolians through the long, hard winters of their country. TMTV explains.
Mongolia lies sandwiched between China and Russia in East Asia. In winter, temperatures drop below -20 degrees Celsius. Over the millennia, Mongolian nomads developed sports suited to the climate. One of them is shaha, or anklebone shooting, very similar to Western curling. It's played on frozen rivers with the ankle bones of various animals: horses, camels, cows, sheep, and goats. Professor Sukbatar Uzibayar is the head of the Mongolian Education Ministry's Science Department and a good shaha player. He spends his days at his desk and much of his free time with friends in the fresh air, shooting ankle-bones.
I'm a scientist, so I usually sit in the office. To keep fit, I spend a lot of time outside. Playing this game helps build up your immune system. You can compare it with running 12 to 13 kilometers in the open air.
As legend has it, 11-year-old Genghis Khan and his friend and later rival Jamuka played a game that involved shooting ankle-bones on the Onon River. As a token of his friendship, Genghis Khan traded his brass shaha for Jamuka's deer ankle-bone and cow-horn ball. There are various disciplines of shaha. In one, the players take turns shooting. In another, they play on teams. Balls are collected in the hem of the traditional Dale tunic. The players each draw a ball, and the ones who have the same picture play on the same team. Historians credit Buddhist scholar and 17th century Mongolian leader Zaya Pandit with inventing the game. One year, a flu epidemic hit, and to harden up his people and his students, Pandit had them shoot ankle-bones on the smooth ice of frozen rivers. One version of the game works like this. Up to 8 smaller ankle bones from sheep or goats are laid out in a line. Then a bigger bone from a camel, horse, or cow is placed in the middle to serve as the target. The players shoot from a set distance. Hitting one of the outer bones scores fewer points. Hitting the big bone in the middle scores 5 points, the maximum. Playing shaha not only involves lots of exercise, it also sharpens the player's eyes and reflexes. And since it's played outdoors, it's also an excellent way to get closer to nature.
The game of shaha, or ankle-bone shooting, is very easy and fair.
Now, foreign tourists to Mongolia are starting to learn the game and join in. Sukbatar Uzibayar and his friends are doing what they can to win over new shaha aficionados.
Guatemala's third largest national park is losing its rainforest at an alarming rate. The causes are man-made and range from illegal land settlement to vegetation destruction by cattle grazing. Now environmentalists are stepping in and taking action to restore what has been lost. Wolf Gebhardt reports on the efforts that are underway in this Central American country to turn the tide before it's too late.
The ceiba, Guatemala's national tree, towers 40 meters into the sky. The ceiba is just one of more than 300 species of tree in this nature preserve. Sierra del Lacandon National Park still contains virgin rainforest. But parts of it are being cleared to make room for fields, even where the rainforest is under official protection. About 15,000 people live in the national park. They raise livestock or plant corn and beans. Attempts have been made to drive them away, but they keep coming back. Now the director of the national park, Javier Marquez, has adopted a new strategy to deal with the problem.
In the communities that are in the park, it's very difficult to make enforcement of the law. But we just try to cooperate with the people that are living in the park. For example, slash and burn, to make consciousness that they have to take away this practice.
This is La Lucha, a village of 400 in close proximity to the rainforest. We're visiting Bartimeo Rodriguez Renault. He's one of the farmers cooperating with the park rangers. The ranger confers with the farmers. Bartimeo and others in La Lucha have committed themselves to protecting the rainforest. Bartimeo has agreed not to touch an area of trees several hectares in size. To enable him to afford this, he receives financial compensation provided in part by the German Environment Ministry and the European Union. And the state has also agreed to let him continue using the land, even though it lies in the nature preserve. That gives him and his family a long-term future.
We are trying to bring a balance between agriculture and forestry. This way agriculture would be less area and forestry activities would be expanded.
Reforestation is part of that program. Where once a mahogany tree had to make way for cornfields, now the farmers plant young mahogany and other native trees. For a few years they will grow side by side with the corn. Then the trees will displace the fields.
I'm planting trees for the future of our children. And in 20 to 25 years, I'll be able to sell the wood for income. With the trees, I'm keeping nature alive here in the mountains.
Planting trees is good for all of us and for the Earth's atmosphere. We can sense that it's warming up. I think that with these trees we're making a contribution to solving the climate problem.
Here at the edge of the national park near the Mexican border, it's easy to see how urgent the need to reclaim the forest has become. For weeks, the Rio Usumacinta has been swollen and overflowing its banks.
Because of the rainy season so intense in the highlands of Guatemala, it gets flooded. Much of the areas in Mexico are the same, flooded. So this is the impacts of climate change.
Some farmers have lost their fields, even in areas rarely threatened by floods in the past.
We used to have floods occasionally, but there have been more and more in the last 3 years. The water used to only reach the reforestation areas about every 10 years.
Another reforestation area, but one not flooded yet. The farmers clear harmful vines and weeds from the trees. They know that restoring the rainforest is important, but so is keeping their families alive.
We're farmers, and fortunately we can feed our families with agriculture. Unfortunately, that is very time-consuming. But sure, if we're able, we'll continue to reforest.
These people are our replicators in other communities. They are telling communities that you can work with the forest. This is very little, but we hope in the future to more people be more consciousness about keeping the rainforests.
Many hectares of rainforest in the national park are still lost every year, and only a fraction is reforested. But it is hoped that others will follow the example of these farmers.
Next, there's good money to be made raising deer. Just ask breeders in New Zealand. According to the country's own Deer Industry Association, farmers raise a whopping 1 million deer per year. Hunters pay good money to have a shot at a trophy buck. Deer meat sells at a premium price, and the antlers are valued for their medicinal qualities. And as Rob Cope-Williams reports, there's a lot that goes into breeding great animals. CTV takes a closer look at an industry that's thriving.
Red deer have been the subject of hunting since the medieval times, with kings and gentry treating it as a sport that provided meat and impressive trophies in the form of antlers. With the colonisation of the British Empire, red deer were released so the settlers could continue with the sport. In New Zealand, the deer are now being farmed for the production of venison and velvet, the health tonic made from new antlers before they grow to their full size and harden. The breeding program developed by the top breeders has resulted in New Zealand producing world records for velvet and antler size and weights.
The best weight for velvet is all about thickness, and thickness is something like, the ultimate is this, for example, this world record here. This stag here is 23.4 kilograms and is 309 CRC points. So if it was officially scored by the CRC, it would be a world record. And the reason it's a world record is the sheer mass of the antler, the thickness of the antler. And in this particular stag's case, not pretty, but magnificently heavy, and the heaviest stag ever grown known to man in all of recorded history.
That leads to the need for the breeding of the right shape.
A stag is very heritable. So if I put in front of you 20 sons of this stag and 20 sons of one of the other stags that we breed with, they will pretty much look like this animal, those 20. The quality of how good they are, reflecting their size genes, depends on the female. So if you want to change the style and shape, if you want beautiful symmetry or great spread or great length, you have to choose a sire stag with those characteristics.
Once a stag reaches an age when it isn't used for breeding on farm, it joins the trophy market and is released.
When our big stags have finished their lives with us, we will send them to Wanaka in the Lakes District in Otago, and they go into a 5,000 acre block up to 5,000 feet in altitude, and the view up there is fantastic, by the way, and they're hunted on foot in there. And so, it's a big thing, and it takes time and to get at the deer, and so there's a big element of fair chase.
Why can New Zealand farmers outperform the rest of the world after only 25 years of farming deer, when the European deer parks have been breeding for centuries?
Culling, which is how you manage a wild herd, is you are taking the role of nature if you no longer have predators and so on, and you are shooting out the rubbish and keeping the good animals. And this is, of course, how the wild herds are being managed, for example, in Europe. In New Zealand, our management is one of selecting the all assets, the female parentage, when they're on deer farms. So you're selecting the high quality animals through the bloodlines, sire and dam, and then later on those animals, when we're finished with them, as we said before, they can be released, for hunting.
Plus, it has a lot to do with the conditions the deer enjoy on farms such as this one. Shade in the summer, shelter in the winter, the best nutrition possible, and New Zealand's clean, green environment.
And that's all for this edition of World Stories. We're out of time, but here are this week's picks of the world. See you next week.
I get around, yeah, get around, round, round. I get around, I get around, round, round, round. I get around, get around, round, round. I get around, get around, round, round. I get around, get around, round, round. I get around. I'm getting bugged driving up and down the same old strip.